All right, hey everyone. All right, hold on a second here. Let me just fix my microphone. Thank you all for joining me for another Bitcoin video analysis. I'm simulcasting today, so you know what that means. Hold on. I see a bunch of questions, so we're gonna get to all that stuff. Thank you all for joining me. All right, so let's get this thing started. Again, my goal is to try to get through my stuff real quick. All right, as quickly as possible so that I can spend more time on your questions, all right, because really that's the whole point of this. All right, so let's get started. This is for educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult a licensed investment advisor. All right, now let me go into my chart. As you can see, Bitcoin, we're going to talk a lot about this, and let me get into the picture. All right, cool. Hey, everyone, good to see you all. All right, so first things first, today's Monday. You know what that means? I know I have my guy from, I think it's Lithuania, who likes Mondays because of these streams. I'm still working on that Monday thing. All right, anyway, so it means economic calendar, all right? I was looking at this before. We have like nothing on the economic calendar. Now, if you're on TradingView, TradingView has its own economic calendar. You can check that. I like to use a different one just because it's just a personal preference. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, so for the economic calendar for this week, all right, what I'm seeing, and again, it's important to check this because if you're in other markets, especially like if you're in stocks or if you're in, Forex or stuff like that, you want to at least be aware of any scheduled economic news. All right, so we have, let's see, today was 7:05 a.m. All right, Japan, Bank of Japan. Governor Kuroda speech. Okay, that was a while ago. On the 25th, which is tomorrow, New Zealand rate statement and their interest rate decision can affect Aussie, possibly New Zealand pairs. But again, it's not like a major dollar mover. Okay, and that's what's important right now is what's going on in the U.S. dollar. Okay, also I see. Then they have a press conference. Okay. Now, again, this calendar, they don't have the times on this anymore. So if you're interested in that, you should definitely check for what time these things come out. It's usually sometime in the evening, Eastern time. Okay. Now, on the 27th, we have for the U.S. durable goods. We have non-defense capital goods orders. And then we have GDP. All right. All on the 27th, which is on Thursday, I believe. So again, that's not usually a big number. It's usually not a big market mover. The thing is right now, all eyes are on anything that kind of hints toward interest rates or inflation. All right. So that's what you need to keep an eye on because wherever the hints are there, whenever the Fed comes out and says something about inflation, the market doesn't like it, right? Because the market knows that there's inflation there, but they want to know that the Fed is going to acknowledge it and all that other stuff. Again, don't get all confused by that stuff. Follow price. All right, let me just adjust my microphone here. Let me know if my sound is okay, and if it's not, I don't see any complaints about the sound, which is good. I've been having some, I've been trying to fix my microphone here, and people have been complaining about the sound. I don't see any complaints. All right, cool. Just let me know if the sound is a problem. All right, let me put it that way. All right, so let's get into Bitcoin. Cool. Hey, TradingView, thank you. Thanks. Madhav, thank you for the feedback there. All right, cool. So let's first talk about Bitcoin. So here's my goal. All right, I want to talk about Bitcoin. I want to talk about the stock market real quick. I want to talk about gold, and then I'm going to spend the rest of the time on your questions. So I will get through the chat. I see a lot of questions here on the other chat, so we're going to get to that. All right. So first things first. Right, Bitcoin pulled back. Okay, we all know that, and it got more dramatic than everyone would have liked. And we had this situation right here. Okay, let me make that nice and big. So we have some questions right now. I see a number of questions, and I'm going to address a bunch of them right now in this one little statement. So we are near a low. We can all agree that this is definitely not a high, all right? The other thing that I think we can all agree on now after this little performance on Bitcoin is that the entire space still follows it. Does anyone disagree with me on that? I mean, because if you disagree, you need to look at charts or something because Bitcoin had this 50% pullback off of its high, slightly more than 50%, right? From 65K to basically 30K. And most of the altcoins have done a similar thing, which tells me one very important thing. It's all one big Bitcoin trade. That's the first thing you need to acknowledge. If you don't know what that means is if you buy any type of altcoin, okay, whether it's a swing trade or a inventory trade. Inventory is like an investment, okay? It's long term. Swing trade is very short term, you know, a couple of weeks, whatever, right? That type of thing. So no matter what trade you're getting into, it's all gonna be a reflection of Bitcoin. So what that means is use Bitcoin as your guide. So if you're looking at Litecoin, if you're looking at some of these other coins, again, start with Bitcoin, because wherever it goes, your altcoin is most likely going to follow, even if the price action isn't exactly the same. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is, let me address inventory a little bit more, because I saw some more questions about that. When it comes to inventory, you can buy inventory at any price. Okay, and we've talked about this. We talked about it at 60K. We talked about it at 50K. We talked about it at 45K. Okay, it doesn't matter the price as much as the size, right? So you control risk with your size. People that average into this, I mean, you know, if they're buying once or twice a month, and I've talked about this many times. You can go back to my streams where I've explained the inventory strategy, you know, where you're buying a preset amount. It could be $100 worth. It could be $200 worth. It's all going to be a function of how large your account is and how much risk or pain you're willing to take. So in these situations, let's just say on the 1st and on the 15th of every month, you just buy $100 worth, no matter where the price is. Price doesn't mean anything when it comes to inventory. It's your size. So when people, they make the mistake is they get too big too fast because they think they got the bottom, okay? But we don't know where the bottom is. 30K may be the bottom, right? And we have this candle developing here, which is a buy signal. This is a buy signal. The problem with this buy signal for a swing trade is the risk is very high, okay? What's the risk on something like this? So 38.8 is basically the high of the current candle. The previous candle high was 38.3 basically. So the buy signal is there, but look at the low of the previous candle. It's 31 basically. So you're looking at about 8,000 points of risk, but the level is attractive. All right, so let me just, before I get into all that stuff, let me just talk about inventory again. So when it comes to inventory, if you buy $100 worth or $200 worth right now, and that represents 1% or maybe 2 or maybe 3% of your capital that you're looking to allocate overall, then that's just one small little purchase. If this thing breaks 30K, which it can still do, then you're not going to feel much pain, right? That's the whole idea. If it goes to 20K, which is another potential target, I have 26K and basically 20K. Those are potential supports. I don't know if Bitcoin will go there. It can go there. That's the thing. We have to be open to the idea. We have to be open to the scenario. And that's one thing why I like to do these forecasts, because, you know, we have to be prepared for scenarios. We can't predict them. As many like to say, oh, I predicted this and I predicted that. Well, you can't really predict anything, right? Because no one really knows. If everyone was so good at blah, 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 and all these bull market geniuses back in these areas, they should have been calling for a 30K pullback. But no one was, right? I was one of the few people that was saying the risk is too high up at these levels. I knew that much. I couldn't tell you we were going to 30K. I suspected 40K, all right? But we went to 30K. In fact, I was looking for 50K to hold, but as we can see, it broke, right? So being good, whether it's investing, whether it's swing trading, it's about being adjustable, all right? And understanding how to manage the risk and what type of risk you're looking at based on the type of strategy you're most interested in. A swing trade strategy is not the same as a inventory strategy. So this is very important. Now, so back to inventory. Is this a bad price to put on some coins or buy, you know, buy some inventory? Not a bad price. Like I said, no price is a bad price. Okay, this thing you could buy some now. It can go to 30K, you could buy some more. It can go to 25K, you can buy some more. What keeps your risk under control is you're taking small bites every time. At some point, Bitcoin will establish a bottom. Okay, and it will start to, you know, most likely in this situation, I'm anticipating over the next 6 months, I'm anticipating the wave 4 consolidation, okay, like gold. People are asking me, I see a question here in the chat, do I think Bitcoin's going to go back to 55K anytime soon? While anything is possible, I don't think it's going to go there anytime soon. I think we can test, you know, this old 50K support now will act like a resistance. We're probably going to see messy price action for a few months, meaning there's going to be a lot of false starts, a lot of false breakouts. You can't go into this thinking, I got the bottom and now we're going to go to 100,000. You can't go into it thinking like that. That's unrealistic, and it's also an absolute. You cannot think in absolutes. It's still possible that we can test lower prices. But with this kind of candle situation, I'm anticipating, at least a test of the 50K, over the next few days, something like that. Maybe the high 40s, which is appropriate for a swing trade. But like I said, with a swing trade, should you avoid inventory? No. All these prices, this is a good price for inventory or slightly lower prices. Like I said, I have to repeat myself because some people, maybe they lack the experience to understand what I'm saying. It's not the price, it's the size. So you can buy some here. And this goes for all altcoins as well, all of them. So if you're interested in Litecoin, you're interested in Ethereum, you're interested in whatever, it doesn't matter the coin, okay? You're buying this situation on Bitcoin. It's all the same. It's usually not a good idea to be 100% invested in this space, as you can see, because it gives back 50% rather quickly. Right, so a second lesson that I hope many of you learn, because I've gotten some messages from people saying, can you please help me? I'm stuck in a blah, blah, blah. It's like, I can't, if you're stuck in a blah, 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 I can't help you. What you should do is go after the person that convinced you that buying at these highs was a good idea. It wasn't me. So anyway, so those are the things. Again, if you're interested in other coins, these are not bad prices. We're near a low. Look at the bigger picture. This is not a high, it's a low. So it's okay to buy, and if it goes lower, it's okay to buy a little more. Now, the whole point of having a target allocation, meaning, let's just say I'm going to use $1,000 as an example. I use this example all the time. Let's say you have $1,000 and you say, that's all I want to invest in these things, $1,000 and that's it. Okay, cool. So you buy $100 worth now, right? That's 10% of your allotment, of your total allotment. And now you're prepared to buy more. Maybe price goes higher, so you're going to buy $100 more, maybe in a week, maybe in a few days, or whatever, okay? It's a lot of times when it comes to inventory, it's really about a schedule, right? The 1st of the month, the 15th of the month, not really prices, like I have to keep saying, right? If it goes lower, you're going to buy $100 more. But let's say it goes to 20K. It's extreme scenario. Let's just say it goes there, right? And you're all at that point at 20K, you make your 10th purchase of $100, okay? Now your $1,000 is completely invested. You're going to have an average price of somewhere around 25K. Now let's say Bitcoin breaks lower and it goes to 18K. Let's just say, all right, your $1,000 is now going to, start to shrink even more. But are you scared? You shouldn't be, because you're not going to keep putting more and more and more in if Bitcoin were to do something like that. Right? But now if Bitcoin instead finds support around 20K and starts to work its way above 25K, your average price, and you say, hey, you know what? I want to increase my allotment, right? So I started out with $1,000 investment. I'm all in, but you know what? I really like it. I like what's going on here, and price is going higher, so I'll buy another $50 or another $100 worth as price is working in my favor, going my way, right? That's how you work that bigger picture type of stuff. It's not a good idea to do that in altcoins, as you can see why. Most of them are garbage. Most of them, you're just making the developers rich. Most of them. Not all of them, but most of them. So I know they don't like when I say that, but that's the reality. I've seen this stuff before in the dot-coms many, many years ago, and those were SEC regulated. So these things have no regulation, all right? So very important to understand that. That type of strategy, you want to really focus on leaders, right? Bitcoin at least is a leader, although there's nothing conservative or safe about Bitcoin, as you can see, right? You want to really focus that type of thing on stocks, high quality stocks. I think Google is going to be in business probably 10 years from now. Most likely Google will be. Same with Walmart, same with Amazon, same with, Intel. You get the idea, right? Those are really the kind of high quality companies you want to be doing that type of thing with, especially when the broader market pulls back. These things, you want to make sure that as part of your total portfolio, they're not 100%. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. I've spent 15 minutes on Bitcoin, and I have a lot of questions to answer. All right, so let me just spend a couple of minutes on the stock market. Oh, Visionary, thank you. Visionary sent me 100 coins. Thank you so much. Take a look at the SPY. Sure, no problem. In fact, I'm going to leave that little comment on my screen there so I don't forget. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You don't have to send me any coins. Okay. But I appreciate the generosity. All right, let me go back. Let me take a look at the stock market real quick. I only want to spend a couple of minutes on it. He's even asking about SPY. So let's take a look at the NASDAQ real quick. I mean, the SPY and the NASDAQ, it's pretty much the same thing in terms of price action. Let's take a look at this thing here. All right. So this thing produced on Friday. Look, this thing, TradingView is saving my some of these boxes here. Anyway, all right. So we had this price action situation back here, right, where it was a possible failed high. That was Friday. And that looked kind of bearish, right? But now we have this large outside bar. This is a short squeeze. Very tough to hold on to when you're short. I mean, we're still in the SQQQ, and I'm going to stay in that until I really see a compelling reason to get out. This is not a compelling reason yet, but it's getting there, all right? But you can't react to these things, right? So we have a resistance right here, and that's what, 13,750 area. We haven't touched it yet. I want to see how price behaves in that area. The S&P is going to be very similar. SPX, these are the CFDs, by the way, which is going to be a reflection of the index. So the S&P was stronger, right? That's a little bit of a stronger chart compared to the NASDAQ. It took out that lower high, and it closed very strong. In fact, it didn't close yet. We still have a few minutes before it closes, about 40 minutes. So with the S&P, it's going to be this all-time high. Now, what can happen here? Because again, when people see this, right, and then the mainstream news gets a hold of it, what do they say? Oh, market's strong today. Market looks great forever. Market's going to go higher forever, so you better buy stuff now. It's not their job to help you make money, okay? Keep that in mind. It's their job to get attention and then monetize it. So here's what you have to be careful of, all right? And they're not going to talk about this. Whether they know it or not, they don't care. It's not their job. So you have to look for the failed high, right? And that's on the S&P 4244. That's what you have to watch for over maybe the coming week, maybe the coming 2 weeks. Maybe this thing fails sooner, but that's what I'm watching for, the failed high. So I was looking at some stocks. I'm like, well, where are the leaders in this, right? I see Google was strong today. Okay, that's interesting. But what about like Apple? All right, that's a nice little move on Apple, but bigger picture, I'm not impressed. Right, that's a market leader right there. I don't know. I'm not impressed with that. Amazon, not impressed. Right, these are still potential lower highs. Now another market leader, NVDA, right, the Nvidia semiconductor. That's impressive. All right, that's a little more okay. I get it. But the thing is, we still haven't made those highs. So this is what you can't get lured into. Why am I bringing this up? Because this is important if you're trying to swing trade stocks. If you're investing in stocks, this is a good time to take some profits, more profits off the table. I mean, look at many stocks. Right, let's take a look at NEO, right? Look, they're all starting to pop a bit, okay? This thing's up $2 today, 2.25. But this is not that impressive. So this is what this is going to do, is allure a lot of retail traders thinking, oh, I got the bottom, right? Yeah, the bottom. But we got a long way to go before this thing starts to prove that it's going to start trending again, right? So this is just tick off the range low. If you manage to get into a swing trade in that situation, you should be looking to reduce risk now while it goes into the middle of the range, not buy more. All right, so those are a couple of points I wanted to make with the stock market. Keep an eye on those levels for the coming week. Now, gold, real quick. Gold has been good. Gold is getting tricky. Now, we had a swing trade in gold a little while back, 1720, right? Most people that follow me know about this. And it went to all three targets, right? 1880 was our third target. Nice trade. We're out of gold, okay? We're out of the swing trade. So if you notice, we're getting out near highs, right? I'm not sending out, you don't see me sending out more swing trades up in here, right? Why would I do that? We're buying a high. And as you all know, and people make fun of my one-liners, I don't buy highs, right? Now with Bitcoin, maybe now you know why. So in this situation, with gold, am I no longer interested in gold? No. If we have that inflationary scenario and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff, gold can still be working its way higher to 1950, 2000. Gold is also in a seasonal bullish time, so it still has some things going for it. I'm just not interested at these prices to put on another swing trade. So we pull back on gold, right? I'll be very happy to buy back into this thing at what, 1840, 1850 area, if it wants to provide that type of opportunity. If it doesn't, if gold just wants to keep going and going and going, guess what? I don't buy more because I'm not going to take the risk. As I tell our members, risk first. Risk first, reward second. I don't care about rewards. Rewards come as a byproduct of good risk management. All right, I can't say that enough times. Risk first. I wrote that in my TradingView article yesterday. I don't know how many views I got on that article. If you haven't read my TradingView article, please check it out, especially people on TradingView. All right, so that's it. Let me get into the chat here. 20 minutes. All right, I'm not too far behind. Now let me start answering your questions. Again, I appreciate you asking all these great questions. Let's get into it. All right, so I'm going to start off here on the other chat because people were putting questions in there like yesterday. All right, so let's see. Oh, and by the way, fun thing. If you want to put what country you're from, I always love to see that. All right, I'm broadcasting from the New York City area, northern New Jersey. Okay, in the U.S., maybe you can't tell from my accent. You're like, where's that weird accent from? Yeah, it's northern New Jersey. All right, so anyway, it's just a fun thing to see. I always love to see the reach of how far TradingView, the reach that it has. And it's funny, I get people from the furthest parts of the world, but no one from New York. Go figure, right? Where are my New Yorkers? All right, so like Travel over here from Italy, nice. Okay, Sheshen, good to see you. Okay, Wedge, hey, from Florida, nice. So Dan from Romania. All right, so his question is about the confirmation with the swing trade for Bitcoin, right? Let's go back to Bitcoin. So like I said earlier, yes, this is a buy signal, right? It is a buy signal, and I'm most likely, I'm seriously thinking about sending something out for this. Now notice I said seriously thinking. I don't react. That's one thing I do not do, right? I really need to be convinced that it's reasonable and the risk makes sense. What I hesitate about this is the risk is high. So I will have to categorize this as an aggressive trade because, I mean, you're looking at about 8,000 points of risk. That's a little high. That's a little higher than average. Typical risk, for this time frame has been about 5,000 points. Okay, so putting on another 3,000 of risk, what I like, what's going for it is the bottom, right? You have that 30K support. I do like that. And like I said, a bounce to the 50K area is within reason. So if you're buying this thing around 38 or 39 and there's about a 10,000 point profit zone in there, that's more than 8,000, right? And that reward risk is within reason, right? It makes sense. It's within the scope of the rules. So I can't argue with that. A lot of times with these swing trades, I basically look for arguments not to take the trade. And then at some point I run out of arguments and I can't argue anymore. It's like, well, everything is here, can't argue with it, have to take the trade, right? That's one of the filters that I basically use to avoid a lot of noise. And a lot of times, sometimes I miss good trades and people get frustrated, I understand, but a lot of times it keeps me out of garbage and a lot of stop outs. And that's really, when over time, that's really the key thing, is keeping your losses smaller. And when you have a win, especially a big win, as we have seen some people have recently, that's really what puts you ahead in the long run. Anyone can make money with one trade. Markets provide rewards randomly, okay? Especially, you ever hear that saying, bull market, everyone is a genius in a bull market? Because in a forgiving market, you can do anything and you'll make some money. The thing is, over time, you won't, right? And that's why you don't want to be a genius in a bull market. You want to know how to navigate every market environment, right? And that starts with risk and understanding your risk, all right? Random rewards, you might as well go to a casino. You might as well play the slot machine. It's the same thing, all right? And as you all know, I don't play slot machines. So, Alex, do you think we'll see reaches to 55K soon? No, I answered that earlier. No, I don't think we'll see it soon. While anything is possible, and you always have to keep an open mind, right? I don't think in absolutes. I think, I'm looking at levels, the 45K to 50K area, and I'm really more emphasizing the 50K area. That's where the next resistance is, right? Because that's an old support. So that's what I'm anticipating way before something like 55K, okay? But again, things can change, right? The market can prove me wrong. The market is always right, not me. All right, so let me go over to the other chat here. Again, I appreciate everyone's questions very much. All right, so let me see what I have. Wow, I have so many. Hopefully I can get through most of these. So, greetings from the Bay Area. All right, we got some West Coast people here. J Manel, I've seen, he's a regular. I recognize his name now. Can you please elaborate on what bullish signs look to you when BTC reaches a support area? Okay, so pretty much I explained that. If you want to get more detail on that, it's really, I'm looking for certain types of patterns, right? So when I have a support, that's the first thing. Now, here's another thing I want to address about Bitcoin, because I've had some questions about this as well. People ask about a bearish trend. There's Bitcoin in a bearish trend now. And I say it's too early for a bearish trend because look at the bigger picture, right? Look at the bigger picture. That's not exactly bearish. Everyone focuses in on this big bearish movement. Now, is this movement bearish? Yeah, the momentum is bearish, and it has taken out some important support levels. So I wouldn't classify the trend as bearish. I would classify it as more of range bound or potentially range bound now, because if it starts to find support and it doesn't break that support, that goes in line with a wave 4, right? So I do follow Elliott wave on the bigger picture, and a wave 4, an Elliott wave is more of a consolidation, right? So when you're in a consolidation, I'm looking at supports, I'm looking at things like double bottoms, because that's a form of structure, right? A double bottom has to touch that bottom 2 times, which means it's going to take some time to get there, especially on a larger time frame. I don't look at these things on small time frames because smaller time frames carry no weight. So if you see a double bottom on your 5-minute chart, right, or maybe your 30-minute chart, that could be going on inside of this first long tail, right? But there's nothing there that says that it's going to hold if it touches on the bigger picture again. Look at 50K. Look at this tail on 50K. I'm willing to bet there was a double bottom there or something like that on your 15-minute chart and blah, 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 and it broke because price action on smaller time frames doesn't carry the same weight. It's a function of volume, really, is what that is. So it has to be bigger picture, double bottom, not smaller picture. Right, so when we have that situation going on here with Bitcoin, and now the other thing you have to look at is, I said, we're looking at trend here. Not trend. This is momentum. This doesn't exactly classify for bigger picture trend. It's just momentum, all right? And we're at a level. We have to take out some sort of minor resistance for me to be convinced that the leg is really going to start working its way higher, and that's around here, 43K. Okay, so if it can't take that out, then we're probably still going to fool around a bit. But I'm not expecting lower lows until 30K is cleared. It has to be decisively cleared. So I hope that answers your question. Good question. Okay, Dominic. Hey, Dominic. Will you please look at SHIB, ADA, BAT? Wow, that's a whole list you got me. Dominic's aggressive. All right, so SHIB. Let's take a look. So this one's a recent one. People have asked about this. So here's the thing. It's starting to shape up a bit. We don't have enough price action on this for me to really be very enthusiastic about it. I like to see price action. I like to see price history because that allows me to assess risk better. We have something, but this isn't great, all right? Because we have a potential lower low, right? But I can't classify this as a failed low just yet. Why? Because I only have one initial opening candle here. This is like the open. This thing came to market, on this candle. So I don't know what this is over here, right? I can't classify that because I don't have any historical price action. So what you have at the moment is a potential failed low. I can compare that to this low over here, right? This little low here. I'm going to try to draw the box over there on this low right there on this green candle. And it's trying to pop a bit, right? It's trying to follow Bitcoin. So you do have a buy signal here. Now, let me say this. On most of these altcoins, you're going to see a similar thing. You're going to see buy signals across the board for a swing trade. As far as inventory, I wouldn't touch something like this for inventory, long term. But for short term, this thing has some potential, and you do have, what I like about these, and you're going to see it in many of these, is you can define the risk very well. What is the risk here? Oh, man, the lows here, I can't even read that number. It's like 5 zeros, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 655, right? So that fraction of a penny. That's what your risk is, and it's starting to break above, right? It's starting to break. So you have it, you took out the previous high. So if you buy this thing right now at basically the 1100, or I shouldn't say 1100, but you know what I'm saying, with all the zeros in front of it, that's the buy signal. Your risk is where I just said, below those lows, all right? This thing can run a bit, right? I would at least give it to the middle of the range, which is 1530, right? That 1530 area. That's realistic. One thing you need to understand about my analysis is I don't sell dreams. I don't sell hope. I try to enlighten people to reality. That's why I'm so unpopular. No one wants to hear about reality. People want to be lied to. Just look at all the YouTube videos out there, right? They're complete nonsense, and they have hundreds of thousands of views. And I can't even get like 30 views, practically. So that just says something. Anyway, but that's the herd mentality. It's human nature. What am I going to do? So that's the thing. be realistic with these things. I would not be anticipating new highs. While anything is possible, if it starts to go crazy, then you have to adjust at that point. But realistically, I'd say middle of the range. That would be a good place to justify your risk. You should at least be getting 1-to-1, okay? Let's take a look at Cardano. I'm sure other people are going to be asking about these. Let me see something here. Hold on. All right, so here's Cardano against Tether. So like I said, you're going to see a lot of these buy signals all over the place. Very similar to Bitcoin. It took out yesterday's high at $1.53, right? That area right there. The question about Cardano is what kind of risk you're taking and what kind of trade are you looking at. So when I speak about most of these, especially for the coming week, I'm looking at these from a swing trade perspective, which means risk will be defined here. Okay, $1.05. So you can round that to $1. All right, so if you're buying this thing right now, you're risking about 50 cents. Can you make more than 50 cents on this thing on the next swing higher? Well, what's the middle of the range? $1.94, so about around $2, right? Around here, you're at 1-to-1, right about that, in that area. So if you buy this now and you get into there, you shouldn't be asking me, where should I sell? Because I'm telling you right now, this is where you should sell, right? That's 1-to-1 at least. If you're taking profit less than that, maybe the market gives you a reason to take profit earlier, meaning a sell signal shows up. Okay, fine. You're not going to get your 1-to-1, but respect the sell signal, right? But if it starts to break through that, you still take some profit, and then you see if it wants to give you 2-to-1. Again, you have to adjust to the market. That's a swing trade. I have to be very specific on that. All right, keep in mind, risk first. So if you say, well, I don't want to risk $1.50. I don't want to risk 50 cents on Cardano. Well, then you shouldn't take the trade, even if it goes the way that it looks like it wants to go right now. Again, these are all following Bitcoin. All right. Let me ask a quick question to everyone in both chats. How many people think Bitcoin is leading the entire space? Just give me a yes or no. All right. So next one, BAT. Okay. Man, you asked for a lot of them. I don't know if I can get them. People have other questions here. Basic attention token, same situation, right? Now look at this. I have a box here, right? This is from a previous stream. I have a box here, right, where that green candle is, where there was a potential failed low situation. And look, it broke, right? It broke. So there's an important lesson there. If you take such a trade and I say, okay, look, the risk is defined by blah, 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 and it breaks, you have to take the loss, right? So in this situation, if you had taken that swing trade long, you should have taken a loss. Now you say, oh, but that sucks. I don't want to lose. Right, but the thing is, this thing can keep going, right? It's the risk that you don't want to take. So now that the market is trying to find stability again, it's okay to get back in. But my point is, if it fails again, you have to take the loss. Small losses are better than big losses. How many people are now caught, stuck from the highs? Their accounts are now cut by 50%. That's not good. All right, small losses are better than big losses, right? So when you have the opportunity to take a small loss, you should have it defined before you get into the trade. And if the market gets there, you get out. You respect the stop. That's a swing trade. That's not inventory. Now, you should not mix the two. You shouldn't say, well, I started out as a swing trade, but it'll be inventory now. You shouldn't do that because of the sizing situation. Usually for swing trades, your size is going to be bigger because you have a defined stop. You don't want to hold on to that and then it goes below your stop, and now you have all that size and all that risk, especially if you're using leverage, okay, which you really shouldn't be in these things, okay, unless you really know what you're doing with it. So anyway, that's why we don't short Bitcoin, by the way. So to answer your question, this is a buy signal in basic attention token. Your risk is defined by 70 cents, right? Low, what, 70 cent? No, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. 45 cents, right? 45-cent low. That's where your risk is. So if you buy this now at 71 cents, you're looking at about 30 cents of risk. Keep in mind, Bitcoin is going to have to really do well over the next few days for all these things to go, right? To reach these midpoint targets, right? In this area here. Bitcoin is going to have to lead the way. If it doesn't lead the way, you're just going to be sitting on something that's just gyrating around. So something to keep in mind. If we are in a wave 4, which once we broke that 40K low, that's where my outlook is. We're in a wave 4. That was the confirmation. I'm expecting a range-bound market, which means we may not get to the high of the range anytime soon. And if we do get there, it will probably fail there most likely. That's the nature of a range-bound market. Let me show you a great example, and I do this almost like every time now, right? You say gold, that's not a range-bound market. Well, let's zoom out a bit, okay? Let's look back. Let's go back to August. Look at this, August, right? See that August high? And you see where the low is in March, that's a couple of hundred points, right? The August high is what, 2075 is the August high on gold, and the low is 1675, right? So what is that, like 400 points? Okay, something like that. It took about 8 months. And look at all these tests of these little resistance areas that failed. That is what I'm anticipating Bitcoin is going to do. Something along those lines over the next few months. I could be wrong, but that is what a wave 4 looks like. Gold, by the way, is not in a bearish market. It has not been. There's nothing bearish about this chart. But everyone thought, I mean, there were reports that were coming out back around these lows, ridiculous reports from institutions that were saying gold is obsolete. Bitcoin is the new gold. And then these morons, I'm calling them morons because they mislead. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose, but then they come out and they say, oh, well, people are taking their Bitcoin profits and they're investing in gold now. Thanks a lot, dude. Why didn't you tell me that at 1675? You're telling me now? So that's what I mean. Please do yourself a favor. Stop listening to mainstream nonsense. If it's on the mainstream and it's like a news source, it's most likely going to mislead you or stimulate you to react. All the information you need is right in front of you. It's on the price chart. Okay, so let me go to the next question. I'm spending a lot of time. All right, look, ICP, ETH. I'm going to get to ETH anyway. So let me just move on here a bit because I have lots of questions. So I'll see if I can get back to that. Dominic, thank you for asking. Guess my question is whether trading is really worth it right now until it is determined if this is a bear market. Well, here's the thing, Ian. Mini bear market or just deep correction in BTC. So I think it's range bound. Okay, so back to Bitcoin, like I said, range bound. You can't. Who's going to tell you if it's a bear market? You're going to wait for someone on the news. You're going to wait for an expert to say, "Oh, we're in a bear market right now, and we're at 20,000." Okay, you can't go by that. All right, there's risk involved. By the time they say it's a bull market, you're buying it back at 65K. Why would you do that? No one was calling for this type of pullback at 65K. What were they saying at 65K? It's going to go to 100K in next week. You're going to be a millionaire if you just buy every altcoin, blah, blah, blah. Right? So who's going to tell you if it's in a bear market or a bull market? Don't wait. We're near lows, right? Lows are good in a broader bullish market. Like I said with Bitcoin, there's nothing bearish about this. It needs to take out 20K to really get me to think, okay, we're probably in a bear market. All right, meaning it's going to make lower lows for a while. All right, and we're not there yet. So we have to assume that a higher low will develop and a wave 4 bottom will develop, and it's trying to right now. That's the best you can do. If you can't take risk on that, then you're in the wrong game. You know, you have to take risk. So you don't have to take a lot of risk, but you have to take risk. Right? So this is not a bad area to be taking risk, whether it's for inventory or swing trades. You just have to make sure you understand the risk that you're taking and you're comfortable with it. Meaning that there's no reason to throw $10,000 at this market right now. But if you have $10,000 to invest and you want to invest in that, you start out with $1,000 and then see how it behaves. Okay. So thanks. That's a good question. Thank you for asking. Those are my thoughts. Okay. So here's Visionary's question. I left it on this thing so I wouldn't forget. SPY. Okay. So I went over the SPY earlier real quick. And then UWMC. All right, let's take a look. So UW, and I appreciate the coins. So UWMC. This. All right. So let's take a look at this. This is a stock. Now, talk about bear market. Right. This is more of what a bear market looks like right here. There's nothing bullish about that. More importantly, it took out this low back here. Right. That equivalent low for something like Bitcoin is like 20K or 15K or 10K, right? So we're nowhere near those levels right now. Anyway, when it breaks a level like that, that's when I'm like, all right, there's definitely, it's bearish at that point. But people say, well, why weren't you bearish earlier? Because earlier it might find support, right? And I go by the bigger picture structure until the market proves otherwise, okay? And then I adjust. Anyway, point is, something like this, right? You have your failed low intact right there, right? You have your failed low. Now the question is this thing worth a swing trade? Well, it needs to prove a little bit more than it's proving right now. You have a resistance right here where it's fooling around, $8.65. It's fooling around there, all right? You also have another resistance here. Keep in mind, you're coming off of something that is proven to be bearish. So in a bear market, resistances typically hold, right? So that means I wouldn't be buying this thing right now. What you want to see are two things. You want to see a higher low develop, okay, which is around what, maybe the 750 area, 7/4 area. If it could develop and it proves that it doesn't want to make a lower low, that could be a sign of change and a bullish change. Yes, it's still risky because this thing is generally bearish, but if you want to take a chance, that's the better place to do it. Maybe it gives you a double bottom, which is even better. Or maybe the other scenario is, as the week unfolds, is it consolidates like it is right here at resistance. Because keep in mind, weak markets don't consolidate around a resistance. They usually reject them quickly, like back here. This is not being rejected so quickly just yet. So if it breaks out of the consolidation, that's a buy signal. And you can define risk on this little mini consolidation around $8. So that would be an aggressive trade, but it would also be a change in structure. So if there's any type of breakout that I like to take, it's usually that type. Okay, when it consolidates near a level like this, and then it breaks out, and you have this little tight consolidation, and you have a nice bullish initial move before it, which is what you have here, those are more attractive. Even though they're aggressive, if I'm going to do it, those are the ones I prefer. Okay, so thanks for that question. Good question. Let me see what else I got here. I got so many questions. Okay, hey, hello from Cali. Nice. Lithuania. I think this is the Monday guy. Yeah, there he is. Okay, wonderful Monday. Can you explain why Bitcoin? Okay, so he wants to know why the alts follow Bitcoin. So there's a relationship there, right? And I can't explain exactly why, but the thing is, because Bitcoin is the leader, and perhaps people are using Bitcoin as the guide, or maybe Bitcoin has to be bought to buy altcoins. I mean, there are a number of reasons why. The thing is, as an investor or as a swing trader, the reason why doesn't really matter. What matters more is that the relationship exists, right? So as long, just like with stocks, right? So if the S&P does really well, most stocks or the average stock should do well, okay? Same with the NASDAQ, because those are the index that are made up of market leaders. So that's kind of a sign that money's flowing into the whole market, right? And there's a relationship between the stock and the index. So that's where we look for something called relative strength. That's really all you need to know when it comes to the Bitcoin altcoin relationship. There's probably some very technical reason why, when Bitcoin's going higher, money's flowing back into the alts. Whatever the reason is, like I said, you just want to recognize that the relationship is there and use that as a guide, okay, in terms of relative strength. So that's how I would answer that question, and that's a good question. So people are always looking to fill that hole of uncertainty, like why, right? Because you need that sort of control. Why doesn't matter, really doesn't. Markets are irrational and they're highly random. So really what matters more, the question you should be asking is where? Where? Are we near a low? Are we near a high? What's the bigger picture structure? Where helps us define risk, and that's really more important than why. Because why, I mean, this is what these YouTube people are taking advantage of. Why Bitcoin is going to do this? Why Bitcoin is going to do that? Because they know that people are always asking why. Why is the wrong question to ask of a market? Okay, so thank you for asking. Good question. All right, Algo and Link. All right, let me take a look. Man, I got so many questions here. All right, so Algo USD. All right, so again, same as we've looked at this before. Look at this, range bound situation. See those boxes on my chart? Range bound. So let me get rid of these boxes here for a minute. And it went to the range low. This is what I'd like to see Bitcoin do. I would love to see it develop a range like this and then do stuff like this. So this is not exactly following the Bitcoin situation, but look at this nice bullish inside bar. Nice strong green candle, okay? Takes out the high of that candle, you have your buy signal. Well, you're gonna see many things like this. That's at 98 cents is the high. The low of the previous candle is 67 cents. That is where risk is defined. But why do I like this one so much? This one is a good one for a swing trade candidate, okay? Why? Because this area right here is a failed low area. All right, I'm not going to get into the technicals as to what that means, but the thing is, people are usually banging out because they're basically misled into thinking it's breaking, but it's not breaking. Buyers come in, they suck it up, right? They accumulate it, and that's what you have here. If anyone shorts this, then they get caught, right? And then they just add more buying pressure to this. Anyway, the point is, off of a range low in something that's generally bullish. There's nothing bearish about this chart, right? You have a broad consolidation is a big higher low. So going back into the middle of the range is a higher probability at around $1.20. So you're looking at about what, 20 cents, maybe 30 cents of potential profit, and you're risking about 30 cents. So to make this trade worthwhile, you know, if you take that, you need to be getting out at least at around $1.30. If you're buying this thing at around $1, right? You need to justify that risk as a swing trade. Like I said, when it comes to inventory, I don't like most of these. It's one big Bitcoin trade anyway. So if you're investing in Bitcoin, or if you're investing in, you know, Litecoin or something like that, that's probably good enough. If you want to throw some money around in some of these things, it's just more exposure to Bitcoin. As we saw, Bitcoin gives back 50%. Most of these give back 50%, okay? Not all of them. Okay, oh, cool. Broby, hey, thank you so much. Check out these stocks. Oh, he's giving me a whole list. Okay, cool. No, but thank you so much. I'll definitely try to get, I will get to that before I finish the stream, okay? So thanks. Now, we also have a link here. I know I'm a little slow today. I apologize. Here's the link. So Link got beat up pretty good, right? And look at this, same situation. Now, Link broke a support. So, you know, I could sit here and talk about some very specific technical details on these things, but again, it's all about Bitcoin. So you have the buy signal in Link. Your risk is defined at $15, right? Now here's a little thing to keep in mind. This $15 low coincides with the 30K low of Bitcoin, right? That's where Bitcoin made its low at 30K. This thing made its low at $15. So you can now say that, all right, if Bitcoin goes back to 30K, this thing should go back to $15, right? If Bitcoin breaks higher, this thing should break higher. So your risk is defined by that $15. This thing is at $25 right now. So that's a $10 risk, right? Just similar to Bitcoin. Bitcoin, we were looking at 8,000 or 9,000 points of risk. So in terms of, I want to say percentage, I mean, it's probably similar. There's a relationship there, even if I don't have the numbers exactly right. Right. So the point is, are you willing to take that type of risk for this coin? Can you justify the risk for a swing trade? You need to make at least $10. Can you do that? Well, 36, where's the next resistance? Around 36 area, this low here, 36.5. So if you're buying this, that's just about there, right? That's a little over, right? Right about here. So you can justify it if it can get there. That's 1-to-1 reward risk. That's not, you know, that's the minimum that you should be getting when you're taking a trade, or, you know, you should be going for at minimum. If your potential is less than that, the trade is not worth taking, because over time, if you keep getting stopped out and you're losing more than you can potentially make, you can't win. So that's really, people always ask, well, how do you make money? That's how you make money. It's not a magical thing on the chart. There's no magic here. As people always ask me, the magical oscillator. There's no magical oscillator. So that's the situation with Link. I like these levels. Like I said before, it's all one big Bitcoin trade. So whether you want to take Link, Bitcoin, Litecoin, you know, whatever we looked at here, BAT, it's all the same trade. So if Bitcoin fails, they're all going to fail with it. What I mean by fail is it goes back to 30K and breaks 30K. They will all fail. So you need to know your risk. And that's the risk on Link. So thanks for asking about that. Again, this outlook is for the next few days, you know, for the coming week. I usually update these, you know, like around Thursday. I do my update forecast. All right, so let me see what else I have here. Let me go back to the other chat. I'm gonna have so many questions. Again, I apologize if I missed your question, but I'm doing my best here to try to answer them all. All right, so Ocean. Oh man, I'm really behind on this chat. Okay, Ocean. Let's take a look at the bigger picture. All right, well, you know what? One thing I like about these streams is we have people watching many different coins and many different markets. You know, I'm not watching a lot of these. So I like when the community comes together and we get a nice view of you know, where there's action. So here, look, this looks just like Bitcoin to me. This looks just like it. So you have the situation. What's the low here? 40 cents. So that's going to coincide with the 30K low on Bitcoin right there, right? You have a potential failed low situation right here relative to that low. It's a little wide. It shouldn't be that wide. So you have to be careful with this. Again, though, this is a Bitcoin trade. So is the trade active? Let's see. 62 cents is the previous high. This thing is at, so it touched, it went, no, it actually didn't take out that previous high yet. When it does, that's your buy signal, and you're risking, you know, about, what was that high again? You're risking about 42 or 43 cents. That means this thing needs to go that far, which is going to be this old support here. By the way, this old support, which is now going to act as a new resistance, is going to be equivalent to 50K on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin needs to probably get to 50K for this thing to start, you know, justifying your risk. And that's around 97 cents. We can round that to $1. All right, so that's Ocean. It looks just like Bitcoin. All right, so just use Bitcoin as your guide. Obviously, Ocean is a lot cheaper. So, you know, it's all really going to be about what kind of risk you can afford to take, how many coins you want to buy. Those are all personal things that only you can answer. Okay, so thanks for asking about that. All right, let me jump over here. What else do I got? So, oh, cool. From Ukraine, nice. Oh, Alexander, nice to see you. All right, please look at Litecoin. Okay, what are your thoughts about a pair for a swing trade? Man, he put this in there like an hour ago. All right, so here's Litecoin. Litecoin has been a big follower. All right, big follower. No leadership here. Right, it tried to lead, and then when Bitcoin says the party's over, the party is over. Litecoin listens. So here's the thing, right? And it's very similar to Ocean. Now you just looked at. Broke this low here, right? Clearly broke that. It tried to find buying there, and it broke slightly lower. Okay, that's okay. Because why? It develops structure. We have this little failed low. This low on Litecoin, 117, is equivalent to the 30K low on Bitcoin. Do we have a buy signal in Litecoin? Yes, we do. 176.5 was the previous high. We're at 182 is the current high. That signal is in play. So maybe not all coins are giving the signal, but the general idea is there. Again, you can't be precise with these things. There's no precision in these markets. So what is your risk? Well, there's two ways you can go about this. You know, he's asking about the swing trade. You could look at the current low, but there's a good chance it gets stopped out at 139. You have to look at 117, right? So similar to Bitcoin being 8,000 points of risk, you're looking at something similar here, right? So you're buying this thing potentially at 182, and you're looking at basically 115 or something like that. That's a lot of risk for this thing. And is this thing going to go all the way back up here? Highly doubtful. Okay, anytime soon. At some point, yeah, maybe in a year, these things will work their way back higher. But if we're in a wave 4, all these things are going to suffer. All of them. They're going to go out of play, kind of like the cannabis stocks, right? 1 minute, they're all going to go to $1 billion in cannabis stocks, and then they're hated for months and months and months. And these things are going to go back into the hate zone. And that's really when inventory opportunities develop. But you have to be very patient with them. Okay, we're not there yet, by the way. So as far as the swing trade goes, you need this thing to go back to 296. So around this area here, which is going to coincide with 50K on Bitcoin. It's all the same trade. You have some resistance here at 232. So that 232 area wouldn't be a bad area to be considering taking risk off the table, but that probably won't justify, right? If you're buying, let's look at the numbers. 182 to ones, that's about, what is that, 60 points? Let's say 70 points to round it. You need to make 70 points from this point. How much money is that? So that would be 282, 250 area, right? 250 area to justify your risk. And this area here around the 230s is not the most, it's not the greatest area for your one-to-one risk. By the way, that's for target 1. So if you spread your targets, and that's what we do with our swing trades, we don't use just one target. Okay, many of you know that. You've seen swing trades, right? I mean, I'll just show you gold real quick. You've seen the swing trades on gold. This is what our swing trades typically look like. You notice we have 3 targets. We don't have 1, right? And we do that to get an average profit target, which is usually the middle one. So, but I'm using one-to-one examples here because that's the minimum you should be getting. Okay, is one-to-one. That should be your objective in these situations. All right, so that's Litecoin. Thank you for asking about that. All right, let me just go a little further here. But I do generally like these for a swing trade. Like I said, I'm probably going to send out something for Bitcoin. All right, so let me see. What are your thoughts about levels to add some more coins inventory for long term? Right, so should I just start dollar cost averaging starting from now? Alex asks. And yes, look, this is now is a good time to start. right? Because we're nearer a low. Someone had mentioned a couple of months ago, or maybe a few weeks ago in one of my streams, they said, oh, I watched an expert and he came out and he said that we're just beginning a 20-year bull market in Bitcoin. That was at 60K. I don't know if some of you remember, but I got all passionate and I said, he comes out with this now at 60K? Why now? Now is the time to come out and say, this is the beginning of a 20-year bull market. If he came out and said that now, I said, well, okay, at least it's near a low. All right, not the high. That's what I mean. Don't listen to experts, please. Listen to price. Okay, so anyway, should you start dollar cost averaging? Yes, not a bad idea. The key to it is your sizing, like I said before. All right, so I'm not going to repeat all that again. Thank you for asking. Okay, MKR, USDT, and Matic. Any point in chasing these now? Okay, so let's take a look here. MKR, USDT. Ooh, that's a nice push. So this is MKR against Tether. Look at this pin bar. This is nice. See, if I had seen something like this, this is really ideal. That's really ideal for a swing trade. You don't always get those, okay? The high of that was 28.80. Ooh, that thing's expensive, okay? And the high now is 41.74. So here's the thing. He's asking, is it worth chasing? No, no. You're halfway into the range. So wouldn't chase this one. The best you could do now here is see if you get a pullback. Wow, they're excited about this one. That's outperforming most of the ones we've looked at. Definitely a good one for the radar, not worth chasing. All right, so that's the answer for MKR. Let's take a look at Matic USDT. Let's take a look. Oh, so Matic, similar situation. Okay, so let's take a look here. Is it worth chasing? No. And the reason why I could say that without even spending much time on this is because you're in the middle of the range. Right? I would not chase this here because you can't justify your risk, right? Let's just take a look real quick. Nice pin bar too. So the high is $1.25, right? Of the pin bar high, took that out. Your risk on that was 74 cents around there. That's about 50 cents of risk in that situation. And look where you are. You pushed a high of $1.98 from $1.25, right? That's more than 50 cents. Okay, so you're now through one-to-one. Risk doesn't make sense anymore. All right, again, when these things do that, when they outperform like this, and you're going to get some here and there that do that. All right, these are nice to know about. Definitely good ones for the radar. You want to wait for a retest of low or a higher low. That's the best you could do now in terms of risk. I said before, risk first. So to answer your question, no, these are not worth chasing, but very nice to be aware of. Thank you for pointing these out. Okay, so let me jump over to the other one here. Lithuania. Hi from Lithuania. Do you like regular or logarithmic scale? Okay, that's a good question. And then GRT USD. So let me pull up GRT USD and then let me answer that question. So as far as your chart type, logarithmic or regular, it doesn't really matter to me, all right? I like to, I mean, as you can see here, I have the log chart on, but it doesn't make a difference. I mean, I'm still looking for levels. I'm looking for near-term levels. I'm looking for price action, right? So it doesn't matter which one you use. Candlesticks are still going to look the same, and general recent levels are going to look the same. When you start getting into logarithmic charts and all that stuff, versus the regular, that's more important if you're really trying to get a really zoomed out bigger picture, and it's not necessary. So like I said, you want the goal as a swing trader or even as a position trader or investor, your goal should be to make actionable decisions on the least amount of information possible, like a poker player does. So that's basically what I do. You know, I have people telling me, well, I'm going to use this logarithmic this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to have this algo system do this, and I was like, I can come to the same outlook as you and do a fraction of the work, okay? I could spend 5 minutes or 2 minutes and come up with the same conclusion that you do, and you spend 20 hours on doing algebra. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. You have to be efficient, and you know that's what allows me to look at many charts and make decisions very quickly. I don't need a lot of information. All right, that's why I don't even follow news. Anyway, so let's get back to GRT before I rant. I'll rant on that for a long time. All right, you have a double bottom here, right? This is nice and pronounced. Look at that. That's nice and pronounced, bigger picture, right? This range bound situation, this thing has been range bound since what, the February peak. That's when all the hypesters were out hyping as hard as they could, right? As you could see, if you bought into that, you had a lot of false starts and a lot of breakouts and false breakouts, right? That's typically a consolidation or like a wave 2 or wave 4. So we broke the low, right? It got a little extreme and now you have some stability, similar to Bitcoin. I like this one. I like the situation here. How much is this thing? 85 cents. It's not ridiculously priced. You have the high of 80 cents was taken out, so the buy signal is in play. The low is 50 cents. Your risk is defined very clearly here for a swing trade, 30-cent risk. Can you get back up into this mid-range here, $1.30 area? Again, Bitcoin will most likely need to push those high 48s to low 50K area, and you'll most likely see price, if this thing continues to follow, get back into the middle of the range and justify your risk. But this structure here is definitely within the scope of the swing trade rules. So, and it's just a matter of justifying your risk at that point, if you can accept that amount of risk, okay? So thank you for asking about that question. Good questions. All right, let me jump further here. Hey, no problem, man. All right, C. Hello, nice to see you too. Could you please share your idea in XCH, Chia Network, and XAG? Is that like Chia Pet? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, all right, no problem. And XAU. All right, so I went over gold earlier, XAU. Okay, hold on a second here. All right, so I went over that. So let's take a look at XCH USD. Again, I may sound repetitive on some of these things. All right. Oh, someone asked me about this. Maybe it was you. Is there a better chart on this? Is there like a USDT chart? Let's see. That's okay. Yeah. See, because we went over this. Right. This is similar to that SHIB or whatever. There's not much price history here. I can't really do anything with this. Buying into this, it's following Bitcoin. Yes, there's a buy signal. I don't have much price history. I can define risk at $613. That's this low over here. So if it breaks below that, you really shouldn't be in it. And again, that's a key portion. That's a very key lesson for all of these. I keep saying define risk, define risk. Right, so we have that risk defined, meaning if it goes there, take the loss. That's the whole idea, because if you don't, it can turn into a big loss, right? If it doesn't go there, hey, that's great. Then you're looking at profit targets. But it's really all about keeping that loss as small as possible, and that's where it's defined from. So there's no price structure here. You have a buy signal. It may go higher. I can't really say much more than that. It's a potential higher low. This is not a trend, and it needs more time to mature before we can really get something more relevant out of that. Your goal would be to see if it can retest this high here around 1687. I'm guessing it's going to need Bitcoin to do something similar. So if Bitcoin can't, this thing probably won't either. All right. So again, one big Bitcoin trade. So thank you for asking about that one. All right. Let me see what else we got here. So XAG, silver. Silver is following gold. All right. So XAG, I put USDT. That's wrong. XAG, USD. So silver, even though silver has its own fundamental situation going on here, it pretty much, when gold goes, silver goes too. So I wouldn't touch silver until gold goes into a buying opportunity. Gold is not there. Silver pulled back a little bit. There's nothing to do here. Wait for a support. That's why I have these lines on this chart, right? 26.5 area, 2670s. Gold needs to pull back too. Like I said before, I'd be looking for a buying opportunity. This is too early. Right? Yes, this trend, we can argue that this structure is a bullish trend. I see nothing but higher lows and higher highs. That's great. But you're near a resistance, and gold is near a resistance. Am I bearish on gold? As you all know, I'm not. But I'd rather see a better price, because if I define my risk at 27.5, right? 27.20, so 27.25, this thing can easily get stopped out. If you want to be aggressive and you want to take some silver and hope it doesn't take out that low, okay, look, you're buying something that's generally strong. Just keep in mind, your chances of testing slightly lower are pretty good, right? It's like a 50-50 type of trade. There's nothing wrong with aggressive trades. You just have to understand the risk that you take and the probability that you face, okay? And then it's up to the market to answer questions from there, right? But it's possible to see that thing push highs this week if gold can lead the way. All right, so thank you for asking about that. And let me see. So in XAU, I went over earlier, right? XAU, XAG. Is that gold against silver? All right, so if you're looking at something like that, the gold-silver ratio, I don't like these charts. I don't like ratio charts because it's really dependent on, you're looking at two unstable, slightly unstable markets. It's like a race. One is going to move faster than the other, and it's going to affect this chart. It's meaningless, right? There's a lot of people that talk about, well, the gold-silver ratio, if silver catches up because it's a historical blah, 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 silver should be at 200 by now and blah, blah. Well, silver's not at 200. So I don't go by that. Look at something, when you look at those ratio pairs, again, look at something against a stable currency like the dollar, okay, or USDT or whatever, because at least it gives you some sort of stable levels that you can work with. I don't, those ratio things, that's like watching these Forex pairs like, pound against yen, or even though yen is a somewhat stable currency compared to others, but like, pound against euro, it's basically the same thing. That's why the charts are very erratic and they're very hard to work with, right? So I'd rather not, right? Work with the easier stuff, something that's more stable. So thank you for asking about that. All right, so I answered silver, right? Okay, Ethereum, right? So Emil's asking about Ethereum. Is that Amit? I'm sorry, Amit. So let's take a look at Ethereum. I figured someone would eventually ask me about it. So let's take a look. I know that was like an hour ago. So here's my Ethereum chart. And look, so Ethereum's looking enthusiastic here. People, again, so let me just say this about Ethereum. How am I doing with time? Because I like to rant and I overdo it. All right, wow, it's over an hour. All right, so a couple more. I'll probably do like 10 more minutes, okay? I'm not gonna be able to answer everyone's questions, so I apologize in advance. But look, Ethereum. So remember when we were at like 4,300? What were people saying? People were, well, by next week we'll be at 5,000 and maybe 10,000 by the month, by next month we'll be. Do you see what I mean about this? No one sees this coming. So you have to look at the risk. I wasn't touching Ethereum at 4,000 or 4,300, or I wasn't going near it, as many of you know if you go back to my streams. So, all right, question, is Ethereum a good purchase here? This is a buy signal in Ethereum. Obviously, Ethereum is relatively strong. 2382 was the previous high. We're way above that, right? We're at 2678. So that buy signal is in effect. You have the double bottom. So look at the level. Nice level it came off of, right? 1860 was the low, this previous low back here. And it went to 1728 was basically like the double bottom. So if you're not in this, this was a buy signal, right? I couldn't send this out. I didn't send this out. But anyway, this thing's on its way. So can you chase this thing? Not a good idea now, okay? Sometimes when the risk goes out of range like this, you just have to let them go. For inventory, like I said, it doesn't matter. You want to take a small bite. Like, just keep something in mind. Where can this thing go to before it runs into like a resistance area? Well, now you're looking at this area here. Okay, so what is that? Around 3,000? No, I'm sorry, that's 3,500. What's this low over here? 32. This low is around 31. So you're looking around this area right there. That's where you're likely to find some resistance, okay? So if you're in this thing as a swing trade, that would be your range to start unloading, right? Or at least reducing your risk, taking some profits off the table. We had some people buy into Bitcoin, on that initial pullback around 30K, and like the next few hours, the thing was at 41K, and the question's, should we get out? Yeah, get out, right? And it went back to 32K. So same situation here. You have a nice profit. It's still a little early. You don't have to start taking money off the table yet. But if it starts pushing into that 3K area, okay, high 28, high 2,000s, low 3,000s, that's your place to start taking profit off the table. Otherwise, if you're not in this, hey, no problem. Look, you're not going to catch them all, right? That's no problem. Wait for another test of the mid 2000s, like 2,500 into that 2,000 area. If Ethereum offers that opportunity, that will be a nice area for a swing trade long. And again, in a consolidation, a lot of times you'll test that low multiple times, right? And that's where your buying opportunity comes from. So hey, no problem. That's what I would be waiting for. Otherwise, I'd leave it alone. So thank you asking about Ethereum. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering about that. All right, let me jump over. So I just answered Ethereum. Okay, cool. Oh, from Spain, nice. ¿Cómo estás? That's the Spanish accent, right? Okay. Turkey. Oh, Turkey, nice. Okay, Sinop. Is Sinop a coin? What is Sinop? Let's see. Oh, okay, hold on. So Sinop, I'm getting here SHI. All right, let's take a look at that. So is that an energy thing? Shanghai Petrochemical. Is this an oil thing? I'm not sure if I have the right symbol, but man, I don't like these charts that are very sporadic like this. I don't like these at all. I mean, yeah, we can get some levels from this, but man, what a mess, right? So yes, it's a higher high. Nothing to do here, right? Because you don't want to be buying the high. You have to wait for some kind of pullback. If you want to look at a level, I mean, I can maybe go by this little mess over here. What is that? $24, 24 half. So maybe 24 even area would give you some sort of opportunity. But I don't like these general. I don't like the general location. I mean, if you're talking about oil, let's just take a look at oil. Oil, by the way, this is U.S. dollar against crude. Oil is driving the S&P, right? Energy is a big part of the S&P, energy sector, and also financials, right? I've been holding the market up. Look at oil today. Is this any surprise? This is probably what drove everything so aggressively. Look at this. Now, again, like I was warning about that potential failure, you're going right into this resistance. So yes, it's high or low. It should make the higher high, but if it fails again, you know, you could see some weakness in the overall market. So I wouldn't be buying here, right? Like I said earlier, I don't buy highs. This could break out and go higher, but it can go without me because I'm not willing to take the risk. So that's, if you're asking about an energy type of stock or index or ETF, I would go by oil. Okay, so thanks. What I mean by that is I would use oil as a reference. Okay, Ethereum. Okay, went over it. Panama, nice. I don't get too many from Central America here. Welcome. Okay, Montreal, nice. Croatia, Tunisia, nice. Okay, like I said, you know, TradingView really has such an interesting reach. Switzerland, Switzerland. Okay, I hear it's expensive to be there. Okay, Ethereum, Southern California, got it. Norway, okay, cool. What about Ethereum Classic? Okay, so let's talk about, interesting. So he asks here, Ethereum Classic, when it pumped to 170, now it's getting back to its origin. First of all, this is just, I don't know why anyone's involved in Ethereum Classic. I think it's just, you know, again, learn your lesson from this. I remember when it was doing this, right, and people are asking me, what about Ethereum Classic? Should we buy this thing? Is it going to get near? No, it's garbage. This thing is garbage. Well, what do you need Ethereum Classic for when you have Ethereum? So look, it's following, right? It's following. So if you want to take your chance with this and look at it as a cheaper version of Ethereum, okay, you can look at it for speculative purposes. I would not forget inventory with this one. And yes, you have the buy signal, same situation as all the other ones. The low is at 40. That's where you're defining your risk from. This thing right now is at 64. So you're looking at about 15 points of risk. Again, it's going to follow the rest of the market. So if the market can follow through, then you know you need to be able to justify your risk. That's how you have to play this game. So here's the thing. I know we went over many buy signals here. If you take some of these, really don't take too many. It's all the same trade. Number one, you don't want to be overexposed. Number two, if you take the trade and it goes, great. That's the least of your problems. If you take the trade and it doesn't go, which is a possibility, and instead it gives you a bearish pin bar or something like that, okay, and you know you're on your own and you're not sure what to do, if it takes the low out of that pin bar, that's probably a sell signal. You should not be seeing that. If we're going to get momentum in these things, you should not be seeing that the next day or the next 2 days, right? This thing should follow through. That's momentum. It follows through. So if this thing fails, right, and this goes for all these garbage altcoins, and I call them garbage like I said before, if they start to fail, you need to be prepared to make adjustments. Perhaps it hasn't gone to your stop yet, right? But there's no need to go into hope mode. You could be like, you know what? It's giving me a hard time. I'm going to take my loss, or maybe I have a small profit. You take it a little earlier, right? And then if it fakes you out and starts to go higher, then you can always get back in, all right? It's not going to fake you out 100 times in a row. So you may get faked out here and there, but that's the thing you need to be able to do is adjust when the market gives you a new piece of information. Right now, like I said, they're all giving buy signals. They all look like they want to go higher. It doesn't mean that they're going to guarantee that they go higher. The question that the market needs to answer over the next few days is, do they follow through or not? Okay, and Bitcoin is going to be the main one to answer that question. All right, so great question. All right, let me jump over here. Let me see. I see a few other locations. Victoria, Canada, nice. Calgary, Alberta, nice. So that's like at the West Coast. It's got to be like earlier over there. Okay, Netherlands, nice. Oh, I appreciate that. Germany, Achtung. All right, cool. We have some German followers. All right, what do you think of XRP, BTC? All right, so XRP against Bitcoin. XRP, is that right? So yeah, all right, look, here's the thing. I'm going to show that real quick. This is, it's a cross pair. So this is not going to be the most reliable chart to work with. So let's take a look at XRP against the dollar, or this. This is going to be a little bit more reliable because it's against a stable currency. So you have, look, this is another example. We looked at one earlier like this, right? Failed low situation at a range low, right? This range low is a broad consolidation, higher low relative to the bigger picture trend. These are, I like these for swing trades. So XRP is a good choice here, all right? But again, you're looking at, you know, what is this? $1.23 is your resistance right around here. So you're probably, that's where you're looking to start putting targets. The question is, can you justify your risk? So if you're buying this thing right now at 93 cents, your risk is at 65 cents. You're looking at 30 cents, about 30 cents of risk, maybe slightly higher. Okay, and then you're looking to get out of this thing. You start to get out around $1.25. That's your high probability area to start exiting, right? Because that's 50. That's the midpoint, 50-50. It may go higher from there. It may not. So that's a good place. There's a good chance it can get there, and then you start getting out, right? And you start distributing your risk to those who start chasing. That's how markets work. So that's how I would look at that. The question you need to answer is, can you afford to take that type of risk, that 30-cent risk? And Bitcoin is going to be your leader. All right, so watch Bitcoin. All right, so thanks for asking. Let me jump over here. Amsterdam. Oh, nice. I hear it's fun over there. All right, I've never been there. Anyway, thanks for asking. Let me jump over. I got so many questions. All right, how am I doing with time here? All right, I'm going to wrap this up here in a few more minutes. I just like to answer everyone's questions. And usually when I simulcast, I can't get to them all because I have so many, but I'm going to see what I can do here. All right, so thanks. Hey, Gabriel, HS, I'm just going back in the chat. Jesse. Oh, Poughkeepsie. Hey, it's my one guy from New York. All right, but not the city. And thanks so much for, no problem. On Ethereum, what confirmation or reversal to a wave 5 versus a fake out are you looking for? All right, that's an interesting question. So that goes back to Elliott wave. All right, let's go back to it. Let me get Ethereum back on my chart here. I don't get too many questions like that. So let me read that again. What confirmation for a reversal to a wave 5? Well, look, the reversal, we have the reversal, right? But we don't know if this is wave 5. There's no way we're going to know that wave 5 is confirmed until the high is taken out, okay? So that's, that's a long ways from here. So that's why you don't wait for confirmations with the Elliott wave. What you're looking for is, you're looking for the possibility that the new wave has begun. And then you can look at a recent resistance like this here, 3,000, around there. And if it clears that, that's a nice lower high. And if it takes that out, something that's generally weak should not do that, right? So that at least gives you a clue that the reversal is confirmed. There's no way, like we might be in a wave 5, but because wave 4 this is going to be a broad magnitude, I'm assuming, and again, I could be wrong, but if Bitcoin goes into that wave 4 like we've seen in gold, our first leg may not be wave 5. As you can see with gold gyrated for about 8 months in many fake outs that you could have maybe been in wave 5, but even now on gold, there's no confirmation. We need to take out 2,000 or 2075 on gold to confirm it, right? Doesn't mean, hey, we still took a trade in gold. So that's how I would treat that. Your confirmation is when it takes out the high, right? Wave 5 is confirmed when the wave 3 high is cleared. And it needs to be decisively cleared because wave 4s can fake you out at the high as well, right? So you don't want to get all obsessed with that. Look for the reversal and define your risk. And I talked about that earlier. All right, so I just want to address the Elliott wave part of the question. Thank you for asking about that. All right, let me see what else I have here. Okay, let's see. VET, okay. Oh, HS. All right, Theta, VET, XRP, and Doji. All right, so I went over XRP, VET and Theta. I haven't, and Doji. So let me go over those. Good. I'm glad my sound is good. All right, I asked that question like an hour ago. These questions have been here for like an hour. All right, I apologize for that. You know I'm really slow, especially when I go off on a rant. All right, so here's Theta. Similar situation. We're seeing these range lows, and we're seeing these buy signals off these range lows, right? Very similar. I was liking Theta like a week ago, all right, and then it broke with Bitcoin. So again, you're dependent on Bitcoin, okay? So the question then really for Theta is, what's the risk if you buy this thing now for swing trade? I'm not a big fan of these for investment, not at these levels, not these. So let's see here, $4.55 is this low, around there. So you're looking at around the $4 area. That's where you're defining your risk from. What's this low over here? 372 is this extreme low. So, I mean, it can test that again if Bitcoin goes to 30K. You have the inside bar now. So if you're taking a chance here, this thing is at 671. You're looking at least $3 of risk. Can you make $3? Well, it's going to have to go back to the middle of the range, right? So that's what you're looking at, and Bitcoin will have to do something similar. Like I said, especially with like Theta, these things follow Bitcoin. If Bitcoin can't do it, it doesn't matter how great these things look. They're not going to do it, right? Just like back here, we had so many potential buy signals and noise and blah, blah, blah. Bitcoin broke. They didn't think twice. They all broke, all right? So just keep that in mind. That's your risk for Theta. Let's take a look at VeChain, all right? Same situation, right? Look at this. This was a super hyped coin, all right? And oh, VeChain, oh, they're going to do this and they're going to do that and they're going to blah, 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 right? Okay, great. Blah, 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 all the way to 46 cents. Or I'm sorry, a little over 4.5 cents, okay? That's where it blah, blah, blah to. So yeah, you have the buy signal. Your risk is defined by that low for, 40463, basically just over 4.5 cents. You have this low over here. It looks just like Bitcoin, right? 6.5 cents right around there. This thing right now is at 11.5 cents. So that's where your risk is. It's all the same trade. If you take Theta or if you take VeChain, it's all the same. If they fail to follow through, they will all fail most likely. Again, if you want to find those coins that outperform, the couple that we talked about earlier, what were those weird coins? I think it was MKR and Matic. Those are the ones that are showing relative strength compared to the rest of these average coins. All right, so thanks for asking about that. Let me see what else we got here. All right, Doji. You want to ask us about Doji? Doji. Okay, so here's Doji. Yeah, I'm really not a big fan of this coin. Same situation. Nice pin bar, right? Low is defined here at 21.5 cents. That's where your risk is defined. It's the same situation. Can these things get to the middle of their range? If they do, they should all go there, all right? A big thing that I don't like about this coin is the fact that, or I don't know if it's a fact, but perhaps you can Google that and find out more than I can. But 12 wallets control 50% of the coins. It's something I definitely don't want to be in, especially since Elon Musk he hypes this coin and he manipulates this coin. If anyone knows how to manipulate a market, it would be him, okay? And hey, he doesn't have to, he's not out looking for our best interest, right? He's just doing what he can do, and there's no oversight. So that's, if you had that power, I'm sure you'd do it too, right? So, I mean, you can't hate him for it. It's just, but the thing is, you don't have to expose yourself to that type of risk either, right? That's why I don't like this coin. Anyway, but it's got the same setup as everything else. So thanks for asking about that. All right, let me see what else we have here. All right, Juan. Let's see, greetings from, oh, nice, Juan, from Abu Dhabi. I never miss a video. Oh, appreciate that. Thank you. Happy. Okay, cool. From Kazakhstan. Wow, like I said, it's amazing to me. And I only have one New Yorker. Gabriel. All right, Litecoin went over. Okay, Sol. Okay, let's talk. I saw some. I was looking around YouTube the other day, and I actually saw some hype on this coin. Because I typed it in by mistake, and I'm like, what is this? I never even heard of this coin. And I saw some hype. They're still making hype videos on these coins. Anyway, yeah, same situation. Okay, same situation. Inside bar, your risk is defined at basically $19, okay? Basically. It's okay to round to the whole number. This thing right now is at $31. So you're taking about, let's just round it to 12 points of risk. If these things are going to have to follow through to justify that risk, it's all the same trade. I'm repeating myself, but that's because the market is showing the same thing over and over again. If there's one important lesson that you should take away from these videos, is that Bitcoin leads the way and the rest of these follow. So you should not be buying 10 or 15 of these things thinking that you have, oh, I'm diversified. No, you're not diversified. You have one giant Bitcoin trade. Okay, these aren't stocks. So I'm not saying you in particular, but I'm just saying that's an important lesson to take away from these. I know I have to repeat that a lot. All right, so IFC, okay, wants to know about SPCE. Let's take a look. So there was some news on this one recently. Can't chase this now. Cannot chase this. You have this gap today. Leave it alone. How much is this thing up? $5. It's at $26.91. Yeah, don't chase. All right, you're going back into this resistance area, right in this area here. What is this price? Around 31.25. Your risk is too high here. That's the problem. It may go higher, but I don't want to risk. Where's the support? 1586. I don't want to take $10 of risk or whatever. About $9 of risk. It's not worth it. All right, not worth it. As you can see, when this thing fakes everyone out, it sucks, right? So I'd rather wait for a pullback to support. Your first support is going to be around those low 20s. So you have to wait, or at least I would wait for something like that. Or perhaps it gives you another test of that $15 area. That would be a nice opportunity if it gave you such an opportunity. Again, I would suspect that even though this is not highly correlated to the S&P, when that S&P sells off, you know, a lot of these things tend to feel the pain. I mean, look at CGC, garbage cannabis stock. This is the best in breed of cannabis stocks, okay? S&P strong today, this thing is minus 32 cents. Okay, I bring it up because it just gives you a sense of correlation. All right, so let me move along here. I got so many questions. I'm going to answer a couple more and I'm going to wrap this up. Again, I appreciate everyone's questions so much. How do you calculate risk points? I'm just looking at the supports. All right, I'm just looking at their lows and I'm defining risk from there, because something that is strong or something that's going to reverse has no business testing that low again or breaking the low, right? If it breaks the low, that's a problem. So that's where I'm defining risk from, right? Obviously, someone stepped in and bought there and established that low. So that low means something. All right, can you check HOLO? HOLO. All right, let me take a look. I just check my time again here real quick. Okay. All right, so a couple more minutes and I'm wrapping up, I promise. I know I talk a lot, but I just try to answer people's questions. All right, HOLO. I'm guessing that's a coin. Let me see. Or is that a stock? No. All right, HOLO, USDT. Let's take a look. I'm not getting anything for that. What is that? Oh, hot. 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 Okay, I got you. Hot. Yeah, it's not hot anymore. I'll give you that, right? Definitely not hot. Look at that. Look at this pullback. This is nasty, okay? If you bought at these hype highs at what, 02, just over almost 3 cents, if you bought up in there, man, this thing got hammered, right? Again, don't buy highs. So, all right, rant aside, similar situation. Obviously, it's looking similar to like Bitcoin and Ethereum. You got the double bottom situation developing. Okay, your risk is defined by this low, 0071, around there. Right now you're fooling around at basically 72, almost 74. So you have the buy signal, but that's your risk. If this thing takes out that low, again, the whole space will probably be doing the same thing. You need to take your loss in those situations. I know, all the hypesters out there, they don't talk about loss because we're here to make money, right? Well, you have to take the loss if it does that, because otherwise that's how you prevent or stay out of these situations. How many people bought into these early higher lows? I bought the higher low, I bought the pullback like the guy on Twitter told me to do, and then it goes lower. Okay, so you need to take those losses when you have a chance to take them small. All right, next, let me see what else I got here. So that's HOT, or HOLO, HOLO. Good evening from Nigeria. Nice. Can you please look at YFI? YFI, let's see, what is that? YFI, is that a coin or is that a stock? I'm guessing it's a coin. Okay, so let's take a look against USDT. Nice little push there. How much is this thing? 47,000? All right, so, and that's in USDT. So it's just another copy of Bitcoin. That's a ridiculous price. So you can just, so many coins. Look, this looks similar to MKR and it looks similar to Matic. Right, so those would probably be a better choice. They're less expensive. But the thing is, too, you're almost in the middle of the range here. What's the high here? 51.96. The middle of the range is 54.5, right around there. Okay, the low is 23. You're chasing that. You're buying. This is high risk in this area here. We just looked at a bunch of coins that offer much better reward risk. Leave this alone. Don't chase it. Okay, YFI. All right, so thanks for asking about that. Okay, now let me see. All right, so ADA went over it. All right, wait for the retest of 1 or going now-ish. I like that, now-ish. Well, again, it's going to depend on your strategy, but like I said, for the swing trades, I outlined that about 20 times, so you can just go by one of those. All right, so let me just go through a couple more questions here. I'm going to wrap this up here in the next minute. Okay, minute. So let me see here. Someone mentioned something about Elon here. Hold on. Elon Musk. Oh, his tweet. Okay. What's your opinion on Elon? All right, so I just pretty much answered that. Look, the guy's a smart guy. You can't take that away from him. All right, he's doing what he can do. Right, he's the richest man in the world. I think he still is, and he's changing the world. He's doing a lot of great things, but he's also, you know, looking out for himself. I mean, that's what you do when you're a capitalist, right? So you can't. The thing is, look, he's not out here to do you any favors. He's out there looking out for his own best interests, whatever that is for his businesses, whatever that is, you know, against, you know, who he's competing with, and he's got to play games at a very high level, and he's got a lot of. It's probably not easy to be him. Okay, so some people, you know, they hate the guy. Oh, he shouldn't manipulate this. He shouldn't manipulate that. But the thing is, if you were in the same position as him, you would probably do the same thing. So you can't hate the guy. And he is changing the world, and he's doing some amazing things, that he's advancing humankind forward. So not too many people do that. And one thing I have to say about him, the guy takes risks. Okay? I mean, man, he takes risks. And, you know, anyway, so that's my opinion of him. Anyway, so thanks for asking. Okay. I know. Yeah, Sean knows. He just wants to hear me rant, I guess. Okay. So what do I mean by fail below 30K? So if you're talking about Bitcoin, what I mean by fail below 30K, meaning if it fails, like it breaks 30K, but it fails, meaning it doesn't go much lower. It's a failed breakout on the bear side. I think that's what you're talking about. You know, just like when you have a failed breakout on the bull side, it tries to go higher and then it fails, kind of like this situation at 65K. Well, it tries to go lower and it fails. It can't go lower. Something stops it. That's a failure because it technically should have went lower. There was a sell signal in Bitcoin yesterday. There was one, but it got reversed. For one, we don't short Bitcoin, so it doesn't matter how many sell signals show up. We're not going to short it, and everyone knows that. But, you know, especially at a low, not going to sell Bitcoin, right? You don't sell into a low. You buy into a low if you're going to do anything. So, yeah. So anyway, now we got the buy signal. So that's what I mean by failure. All right, thanks for asking. All right, let me see what else I got here. Okay, I got so many questions. So, all right, love the little reality. Hey, cool. Can you look at VeChain? Okay, covered that. Right, following BTC, yes. China and some whales, okay. Shorts and are out of the market. We went, okay, but slowly. Do you think when the stock market opens, are back from, okay, I wouldn't go by that, okay, Han. like trying to anticipate, like, oh, I think I know what the whales are going to do, or you're trying to put like logic together. It feels good to do that, but it's irrelevant to the market. So we can't, you know, but the thing with that thinking is, it's fine if you're talking to your friends, but the thing is, it can get you onto the wrong side of the market because it forms into an opinion. Right? We can't really, especially for short term, we cannot have opinions. People ask me all the time, well, what do you think of this? Well, I have no opinion because I let the market tell me what it wants to do and then I adjust. All I want to know is the risk. Okay? And if I like the risk, I can take a trade. If I don't like the risk, I don't care if Bitcoin goes to 100,000 tomorrow. If I don't like the risk, I don't take the trade because I don't chase rewards. I look at risk. It took me a very long time to get that idea into my head. Okay? I'm very stubborn, by the way. All right? But like I said, don't listen to people, listen to price. Price tells you the truth. And that's all it can do. You just have to learn to listen to it and then adjust as it provides new information because it changes. All right, so that's, let me see where I am here. All right, I got to wrap this up. I'm sorry, I have to go. Wow, 33 likes. That's nice. I appreciate that, everyone. Okay, and I had very generous people on TradingView here. Thank you very much for the coins and all that. But hold on, someone asked me about these coins. The guy gave me some coins. I have to answer the question. All right, so, well, Square, Tesla, Baba. Oh, man, I didn't get to any of those. All right, hold on. BTC spiking right now. What you said, 2 streams of bear repetition. That's smart money unloading onto people who don't know what. Oh, okay. So G-Mantle says here, BT spiking right. What you said 2 streams ago, bears repetition. That's smart money unloading on people who don't know what they're doing. Well, yes, right. Because, I mean, come on. The smart money, they have more information than we do. That's why they're smart money. You know, people always think when I say that I'm referring to their intelligence level. It has nothing to do with IQ. They just have better information. We have to make decisions on much less complete information. And the less information you can utilize, the better. Because most of the information we get as retail traders is complete garbage anyway. Whether it's news, whether it's another guru telling you what to do, or if it's an oscillator, it's mostly irrelevant, useless information. All right. Okay, so I have to get to a couple of these stocks. This poor guy, Broby. Sorry, Broby. All right. So look, SQ, real quick. So look, Square. I've been watching Square. Square is a nice. Look at this range low situation on Square. This is what I'd like to see Bitcoin do. Something like this. I would like to see this. I don't know if it's going to do it, you know, over the next few months, but that would be ideal wave 4. Square is getting away here from you. All right. So the market's up today. I was looking at Square as a potential swing trade, but not now. All right. The risk is a little high. 192 is the low on Square. This thing is back to it's over $210. So the best I could do now is wait to see if it tests the middle of this little range right here. That's the best I can do with Square. If it breaks and just goes higher, I miss it. The thing is, the reason why I'm a little hesitant on Square, even though the general location is good, is because I don't like the general location of the NASDAQ and the S&P. And they lead the way. Okay, Square is just a follower. So that's why I like Square generally. I just don't like this particular situation. I prefer better price. So thanks for asking. That's Square. Tesla, he asks about, speaking of Elon Musk. Look, this stock here, it tested this low area. This is a nice fail. Travel was asking about failure. This is a nice failed low here, right? Broke that low, should have went lower, didn't go lower. It's a failed low. So here we are closing, what, 606. Similar to Square, now you're testing this old support, which might act as a resistance. This is a very hype sensitive stock. So you have to be careful. Definitely don't want to be chasing this. All right. So I would wait. Again, similar to Square, I'd wait for a pullback. A lot of these stocks are going to look similar because of the NASDAQ and S&P. And by the way, let me just see how that NASDAQ closed. Okay. I mean, closed near its highs today at 13,655, all right, on the CFD. Look at that. So a lot of stocks are going to look pretty right now, but you have to look at this resistance area. This is what you're going into. So I don't chase these things. If you're not in the long from this pin bar low, which I didn't call any because I didn't like this situation, you know, I wouldn't buy it now. If I didn't buy it at the low, I'm not going to buy it at the high. All right, so let me see what else I had here. Baba, Builder, and CRM. Okay, let me see. Let me just do this real quick. I'm just doing them real quick because the guy gave me some coins. I mean, I can't just forget about this guy here. So Baba. Now look at this. So lower highs and lower lows, right? That's all I see here. Look at this. So we have a lower high area right there. And we have another lower high recently over here. And with the stock market doing what it's doing, this thing is minus 84 cents today. Relatively weak. Not good. All right. Not good for longs. Definitely not. I at least want to see some stability. So relative weakness, right? If S&P pulls back, stock market pulls back, I anticipate lows getting taken out. 206. Maybe it goes to 200. So I would hold off on this thing right now. Wait until this thing can prove some strength. You do have a level at the 200 area, but let it at least touch the area and give you a bullish pin bar or something, right? Before taking that risk. I would hold off on Baba. Thanks for asking about that one. All right, let me see what else we got here. Is that Ballard Power? BLDP, yes. Ballard Power. So these things, right, FCell and this whole crew, they've been trying to work their way up. I don't like this potential lower high situation. You have a gap here. That probably could be from a report. And you're just hesitating right below that gap. I don't like when stocks start to make their way up and get everyone interested. Like, oh yeah, look, it's going higher. I should buy it now. Possible lower high. No, wouldn't touch it. So you have a resistance here at 18 and a quarter. Right now, this thing's at 16 and a quarter. So you may fool around a bit, but I wouldn't be interested in this thing until it tests 14 or somewhere around there. Look for the higher low. This recent structure is not good. It's bearish, and you may get another lower high. No reason to buy into a potential lower high. All right, so thanks for asking. And he had one more here, real quick, CRM. All right, so similar situation, right? These things are following, you can see we had an old trade in there. These things are following the stock market. CRM, Salesforce, is a typical, it's more of a market stock, right? They do their software there, their customer management software, Salesforce. Not a good area to be buying. No way. I was going to say a bad word there. No way would I be buying this into a potential resistance of 226 area. No way. Look for the higher low, okay? In this situation, for a swing trade, 217 area, 215 area, wait for a reversal there. If it doesn't deliver it, it doesn't deliver it. But what I suspect with these things, and I'm very cautious with the stock market near a potential resistance area, if the stock market pulls back as the week unfolds, which is possible, right? I'm not saying it will, but if it does, these things are going to pull off. They're going to sell off from these potential lower highs. I don't have much faith in these things right now. These are not attractive levels. Okay, so thanks for asking about that. I answered those all. All right, and I'll do one more because I like to talk. Okay, one more. Yeah, one more. Let me see. Where will I get this question from? All right, okay. Oh, I asked that question like an hour ago. All right, I went over Cardano, went over ETH. Okay, I'm going to go over this chat here. Let me see what I got. One more question. Let me see where it will be. First time hearing inventory theory. I'm behind. All about the size. Oh, Mel, I've talked about that a million times. Just go back to my previous streams. I must repeat it every other stream. Never thought of it like that. Okay. Yeah, inventory. Okay, Belgium, nice. Joshua, okay, can you please look at BQX? Okay, let's take a look. BQX, and then I'm going to wrap it up. Okay, again, if I missed your question, I apologize. Is this a coin? Let me see what I have here. So, all right, look, similar situation. We have this nice pullback, right? Failed low, right? Failing around here. Very similar to Bitcoin because the previous low was at $2.55, right in there. As you could see, it hesitated, right? When Bitcoin touched this 30K low in this area here, and you're getting the buy signal. So $2.55, the current price is $2.46. So the buy signal's in effect even though it pulled, oh no, actually, I'm sorry, wrong. No. The buy signal didn't go off yet. 255 would be it. But your risk is defined by basically, is that $1.66? No, it can't be. Let me see. Yeah, it's $1.66 and $1.46. You're looking at about $1 of risk, okay, in this area here, which would be equivalent to 30K on Bitcoin. So you need to make at least $1 on something like this, BQX USD. All right, so like I said, these things are not in bad location. So I'm going to wrap this up here. I apologize if I missed your question. I just get so many, and I have to wrap this up. So join me for another stream. I stream on TradingView, and I simulcast every Monday, so you can join me, or you could find me throughout the week. All right, so I just want to leave you guys with this. With these situations, the key takeaways are altcoins are following Bitcoin. That has not changed. It's always been the case, and I don't really see much of a change now. All these trade ideas that we looked at, okay, we see there are many swing trade ideas that are potentially in play, right? Some of them haven't touched their buy price yet, but they most likely will. If they touch their buy price, all right, and they fail, meaning next thing you know, they're pushing the low of the previous candle, don't be afraid to take your loss right away. All right, you have to limit those potential losses. I have people telling me, oh, I took the trade of the week and I forgot to put the stop in, right? And I'm minus 60% now. You cannot get in those situations. We put those stops for a reason. It's because the trade is no longer any good if it goes to that stop, right? And that was an electric vehicle stock. Some of these stocks get hammered, and these coins can go the same way. There's no safety in this space, especially this space. There's no safety, as you know. So risk first, right? So all those supports that we looked at, those are your levels. If Bitcoin breaks 30K, I will suspect if Bitcoin does that this week, which it's possible, doesn't look like it's going to do it right now, but it's possible, right? Always keep an open mind. If Bitcoin does it, then most of these coins will probably do something similar. Your goal is to not get caught in that. If you get knocked out or you take a small loss or whatever, you can always get back in. Don't beat yourself up for small losses. Don't value yourself on your P&L. You can't do that. right? So you have to separate yourself from it, try to minimize that emotional thing. Yeah, we're human, emotions are part of the game, but your objective should be to take yourself as much out of the equation as possible, right? That's why we have rules for our swing trades. All right, I'm going to leave you with that. If you have any other questions, again, you know where to find me. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, all of you. People that join me on TradingView and on my other channel here. Thank you so much for your coins and for all your great questions and all your great participation and all of your kind words. I really appreciate it. Again, I apologize very much if I missed your question. Please join me again and ask it again. Also, make sure you check out my TradingView article. If you have a question, sometimes people ask questions in the TradingView article. It's very hard for me to answer those. I know that may sound ridiculous, but it's better if you come to these live streams and ask the question here, because I can see the question and answer it in real time. Okay, so again, thank you very, very much, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching.